Hey friends, welcome back to another Bible time. Last week we practiced asking our own questions about Scripture. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I find it really helpful to practice doing hard things, and I hope that now you're starting to feel more comfortable asking big questions about faith and Scripture. Today, we're going to take a look at a big question that people asked about Jesus. You see, Jesus didn't have that great of a reputation with the religious leaders of his day. Why do you think that was? To find out more, let's look at the book of Mark, chapter 2, verses 13 through 17. In my Bible, it has a little header right here, and it says, the Calling of Levi. You can't see it very well in the video. And here it says, once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him, and he began to teach them. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, Jesus told him. And Levi got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners is in quotes in my Bible, were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with the sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said to them, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Levi, later called Matthew, was a tax collector. Do you know what taxes are? Right. A tax is money that we give to the government for specific things. In our current day, we pay all sorts of taxes, and they pay for things like roads, public schools, the military, all sorts of things. There's a good chance that your loving adults go every year to someone who helps them with their taxes to make sure that they've paid all of the taxes that they're supposed to pay, or if they've paid more than their fair share, then they're going to get money back from the government. We don't naturally think of these people who help us with our taxes, or even people who work for the government collecting taxes, as worse than us in our current day. Why would Levi, being a tax collector, make people dislike him or call him a sinner? Are people who work for the government more sinful than the rest of us? Well, let's think about this. The people in charge, the government that was overseeing things in Jesus' day was Rome. Now, Rome it wasn't close by. These aren't rulers that were part of the area or even part of the country. It was a bigger conquering kingdom, and the Romans had actually come in and conquered this little corner of the world and forced the people into submission. And so their taxes weren't necessarily going to better their surrounding area. Their taxes were going off to these conquering people to help a government that was really kind of removed from what was going on. And the Jewish people really resented Rome, really resented that they had been conquered by yet another people. They wanted their own king. They wanted to live autonomously. They wanted a peace that God had promised. And so they didn't like it when their own people went and worked for this conquering government. Now that's a little bit different than things today, isn't it? So we understand now that the religious leaders of Jesus' day didn't like it when people helped the invaders, the invading government of the day, Rome. And so the religious leaders shunned or didn't hang out with or serve people who became tax collectors. And yet here's Jesus eating with tax collectors and other people that the religious leaders had decided were sinners. Why was eating with Levi and Levi's friends and family such a big deal to the religious leaders? Well, to think about that, let me ask you this. Do you go over to just anyone's house? If you go over to someone's house for a meal, what is your relationship with them? At the very least, you probably consider them friends, right? Or at least people that you're friendly with. You think of them in a positive light if it's someone you share a meal with in a home. But that's actually the problem here. This is why the religious leaders are getting so upset. You see, according to them, Jesus, if Jesus is a religious teacher, Jesus should only be friends with people who hold this high bar, who meet specific requirements. But Jesus is friends with people that the religious leaders have shunned. People that they've decided aren't good enough or aren't following a holy enough path or aren't close enough to God. Jesus chooses to hang out with people who have been pushed away from the faith. People that others consider bad or sinful and far away from God. Does Jesus stop hanging out with his friends when he hears what the religious leaders are saying? No. What does Jesus say? Hold on, let me grab my Bible again and we'll read it. Jesus says, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." That's puzzling, isn't it? I've always thought Jesus came for everyone, but this sentence makes it sound like Jesus only came for sick people. I'm not sick right now, are you? So I guess my big question today is, who did Jesus come for? Friends, I could be wrong about this. I could. But if I've paid attention to this story well, it sounds like those religious leaders thought they knew everything. They thought that they didn't need any help being closer to God because they were the top tier people of faith. Levi, though, Levi and his friends and family, it seems like they were hungry for God. They knew that they needed help. And they were really open to hearing Jesus' teaching and following him. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Jesus is getting at. In order to really understand Jesus, in order to be in close relationship with him, in order to eat beside him and be his friend, we have to understand that we need help. We can't think we have it all figured out. Maybe Jesus came for everyone, but our friendship with him, our fellowship with him, our following him means that we need humility. To not think that we know everything, or that we're the best, or that we're even better than other people. This story gives me so much to think about, and I hope it's piqued your curiosity too. I truly believe that Jesus wants to be in close relationship to us. So maybe this week, friends, we can take a good look in the mirror, a good look at ourselves, at our hearts, at the way that we think. And maybe we can admit that we need some help. Jesus is ready to help you, ready to teach you. Jesus is ready to walk through life with you. Stay humble, friends.